Hey, Alex.
Hello.
Hey, Kaya.
Hi.
All right, those of you who are at home, do you see, so you see the PowerPoint right now. Do you see it so like the main slide is kind of small and then there's the next slide coming? Or do you see it as one big slide?
One big slide.
Okay, good.
Ms. Schmidt, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So with the final, how is that going to work for seniors?
Yes, that's a good question. And I'll talk about that when when I break out and just talk to VLA kids, if that's okay.
Oh, wait, no, sorry, I didn't mean the final. I meant like that choice project thing.
Oh, right. I don't think anybody's going to have to do the free choice project.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not going to expect it. I would rather have you do a better job on your coil project and turn that in like really good rather than have you rush to finish that and then rush to finish a free. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
gone.
All right, thank you.
Yep, good question. All right, good morning. Grab a seat. Today could be kind of a standard day, but it also might be a day where you do some glazing. I'm going to talk about glazing your leaf bowls today because they are out of the kiln, and we're going to use some different glazes for the leaf bowls. So that's primarily what my demo is going to be today, because you kind of already know what you need to do with the coil project. So I'm really going to leave it up to you today, if you feel like you're like well on your way with your coil project, like if you're making a vase. If you're almost done coiling your vase and almost ready to move on to the scraping and shaping and handle adding part, then you are ahead of the game and you could pause and do some glazing today. If you are making mugs and if you have one mug complete and you're at least halfway through your second mug, you probably have some free time today and you can glaze today. Because remember, this coil vessel project, whether it's 2 mugs or whether it's 1 vase, it's due on Thursday. So you have today, tomorrow, and Thursday to work on this. There is no more free choice project that is thrown out. You can still do a free choice project for extra credit, but that is not going to be a requirement. So what I'm getting at is you might have time to spend glazing today. And I would love it if some people would glaze, because I would love to get enough pieces to fill a kiln to be able to fire today. So that's really what I'm going to talk most about today. And the technique I'm going to show you is similar to what's on the screen. So see how those pieces, they look primarily white. You can leave it open as long as it's not noisy. Thank you. They're primarily white, but the leaves are colored. So I'm going to show you some glazes that'll be really good at coloring those leaves if you want to do this technique. So these are these steps for today, and this is what I'll leave frozen up on the screen. So if you're coiling, there are your steps. If you're glazing your animal today, because some of you have animals yet to finish, those are your steps. And if you're glazing your leaf bowl, those are your steps. So I'm going to leave that up on the screen. And then I'm going to ask you guys to gather around table 9, please, for a quick little glazing demo. So I'm going to stop sharing, add my camera. Caitlin, on your way over, could you flip on the lights, please? All right, get over here, folks, especially those of you over at tables 1, 2, and 3. Come on over. So people who are at home, I realize not all of you have a leaf bowl that you have fired or will choose to fire to glaze, but it's still good knowledge just to learn how to do these techniques. And some of you did bring in your leaf bowls and will be coming into glaze, so this is very relevant. You might use this technique. And I realize I left my leaf bowls. Here we go. Okay, so you guys have already heard about the low fire glazes. Allison, can you come over too, please? The low fire glazes that you used on your animal project, those get fired to 1,800 degrees, the glazes melt. The glaze I'm going to show you today are underglazes. Underglazes are basically just color. They're not a shiny glaze on their own. So these glazes require a clear glaze over the top. And so with the clear glaze, you get to dip your project in it. So that's really quick. The underglazes, though, come in little bottles like this. And so what I would encourage you to do is use more than one color when you're glazing your flower or your leaf. This is the one that I'm going to be glazing today. It's a flower, so I'm going to glaze the flower part pink and yellow, and then the leaf part green. So I have the 3 colors of underglaze that I've chosen, and the box of underglazes are right there in front of Miss Ida, in the speedball box, right in front of you. Yep. Yes.
So what's the difference after firing?
After firing, these are very predictable. And so how they look on your pot is exactly how they're going to look after they're fired. So they're more like paint.
Okay.
So you can look at them and you're like, I can blend them and I know what it's going to turn out like. The other ones are a little bit more unpredictable. And then for your last project, for this coiled project, I have several different kinds of dip glazes. So for those glazes, you're going to be able to dunk in multiple colors, and that's very unpredictable, but some of the results are really sophisticated and really, really fun. So I'll talk more about the dip glazes when some of your coil projects are ready to be fired. So since I'm not going to need a lot of these underglazes, I'm just going to use the top of my slip container like a paint palette, so I can blend these if I wanted to. And I'm just going to pour just a little bit of each color on top of my flip container. So I got a little bit of, oh boy, that's a little thick. A little yellow, a little pink, and then I know this is really runny, so I'm going to be careful pouring this out. I might need a little bit more than that. Okay, and then I have a paintbrush and I have a little water cup handy, and I'm just going to be really sloppy with my painting, to be honest. I'm going to slop that pink or red into the nooks and crannies of my flower. I'll let you know. So the reason you're being sloppy is because we just want the color inside those recessed areas, and then we're going to wipe the color off. And the color is going to stay inside those recessed areas, and it's going to wipe off the raised surfaces. So there's my yellow. I'm going to have my pink and my yellow maybe kind of blend together a little bit, so it makes kind of an orangey or a corally color in the center. Okay, so that's what that looks like, all nice and sloppy. And then my green is going to go down inside the crevices of the actual leaf or stem. And just try and get all around where you think those crevices might be, because there might be really faint, tiny little veins or something like that that you just can't even really see with the bare eye. But if the glaze could go in there and accentuate them, that's going to be a really cool part of your design. So, all right, so that's the sloppy thing. On the outside, I could do the same. I could paint a kind of design out here, or I could just leave it blank. It's up to you. If I leave it blank and I'm dipping this whole thing in the clear, this would just end up being white and shiny on the outside. So it's up to you if you want to add something to the outside or not. So now here comes the fun part. So I have a sponge. I'm going to dip it in my water, and I'm going to be careful not to scrub this way, because if I scrub back and forth this way, my green is going to blend into my pink, and my pink is going to blend into my green. So I'm just going to first try and scrub off the green area and try and keep that kind of separate. So I'm just using my sponge, and I'm going to have to clean it kind of frequently so the green doesn't just end up getting smeared around. I'm just trying to remove it off that raised surface. So it's starting to come off little by little. So I'm just doing a little scrub back and forth. My little cup of water here is getting a little bit too full of color. So ideally, I would want to maybe do this at the sink where I can clean my sponge more frequently with actual clean water. But it is working. It is revealing. Even the little, like, really tiny sensitive leaves that I didn't even think left an impression, they're there. It's going to be hard maybe for you to see from far away, but they are there. So the green has gone into those little impressions that the leaf has made. This is going to require a little bit more cleanup, but you get the idea, right? So then let me do the flower part. I'm going to scrub on that for a little bit so that the yellow stays in the yellow parts, the pink stays in the pink parts. So there's the pink and the yellow just inside my flowers. Okay, so that's really quick and really easy, and it really accentuates all the work that you did to press those flowers in. And now, ideally, I would clean this up a little bit more, but I also want to show you how to dunk this in the clear glaze. So This is a high fire clear. So this fires up to 2,150 degrees. And it's a little low at the moment, but I'm going to refill it for tomorrow. So we have enough, make sure that we have enough. Oh, yeah.
Can they, if anyone did an impression on the feet,
Yep.
can they put a green in the feet?
Yes.
Or is that not?
Yeah, so I actually have little veins in the feet of mine. I could have painted that and then wiped it off, so the green is just inside those impressions. Stick? It shouldn't, yeah. I mean, once you dip it in here, glaze is going to get on the feet, and then we're going to wipe it off. Yeah, so anything that would have caused a problem on the foot will be taken care of. So now the trick for me is to figure out how to dip this, and I am going to get glaze on my fingers, and that's okay. One quick dip, let it drip, and that's all you need, one dip. So we'll just let it kind of do its thing for a bit here, get the excess off. I'm going to have the glazing station for this, by the way, over there where Miss Beta is. So the underglazes are going to be there. And then this bucket of clear is going to be over there as well. So then I'm just going to let this sit on the table. Where my fingers were, I'm just going to take the little bit of slip that's on my fingers and fill, or not slip, glaze, and fill in those areas. And I know it looks like it covered everything. It looks like I just glazed it white. But actually, you got to trust that when it goes in the kiln and everything gets fired and everything gets melty, it is going to turn out clear. Everything is going to be like a window. You can see through it, and it's shiny and it's food safe. The thing I will have to do, and I won't be able to do this until this is dry enough for me to pick up, I will have to pick it up and wipe off those feet. So the actual bottom of the bowl can have glaze on it. That's fine because that's not touching the table, but the feet 100% have to be wiped off. Otherwise, your pot will get super glued into the kiln. It'll melt into the kiln. With a chisel and a hammer. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not gone, but it'll leave a mark on the shelf, which affects then every other piece that goes on that shelf for the rest of that kiln's life. So it's something we try to avoid. And it could, if I have to chisel your thing off, it might lose one of its feet. So it's definitely ideal to wipe that glaze off of there. And the trouble with this clear glaze is the color of the glaze is very similar to the color of the clay. So it can be kind of hard to tell if it's wiped off enough. So you just gotta, really just wipe it well with a clean, wet sponge and just kind of over wipe it, really, to just be sure that you got everything. So this is something some of you might choose to do in class today, if you wish. Your leaf bowls are all on the top 2 shelves of that cart above where the animals are. There's a couple new animals out there today, too. In fact, those of you who have brought animals in from home, your animals are out of the kiln. So if you want to come in and glaze, you can. And so if you feel like you've got a good start on the coil project, I would encourage you to glaze today. Any questions from you guys in person? Okay, great. People who are at home, stay on the line. Everybody else, get to work.
I get one said it's really bad this
You just need something to distract you. You can try. Do you want to just go down there and ask?
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. You bet.
You know where's the
You know where the yeah. So it's down there. Actually, you know where the guidance office is? It's on the opposite end of the hallway. From the guidance office. Yeah, if you just kind of keep going past that area to the other side of where the guidance counselors are, that's where they're across from the business hallway. Yeah.
That's your choice. What? That's your choice. Oh, what?
Have a little bit raised that are up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So they all fire.
All right, folk. Thanks for hanging on the line. All right. You guys are always my most well-attended class. I appreciate that so many of you log on for VLA. Thank you. Hi. So you guys obviously aren't glazing today in class. You're continuing to work on your coil project. Honestly, because you have more time to work than my kids who are here, you might finish this project early. And if that's the case, fine. I'm not going to give you any other assignments. If you want to do an extra credit thing, that's just like whatever you want. If you have extra clay and you want to make something for extra credit, that would be awesome, but I'm not going to require it. So all that I would ask, like say you finish your coil project today, just keep logging on to our Google Meets, and then, you know, you don't necessarily have anything else to work on. This is going to be due on Thursday. So Thursday, you will have to show me your video of your coiled projects, inside, outside, all around, bottom, all of that. If you're doing a mug, you'll have to show me both mugs. You'll do the artist statement on Thursday, but I'm not going to assign you anything mandatory beyond that. Next week is our final. For you guys, the final is to clean up your home studio and snap a picture of that clean home studio and submit that. That's worth 50 points. And then the other part of your final is bringing back your swag bag. Now, I know that the school has told you that material return day is like the week after school ends. So like June 6th and 7th or something like that. But the problem is you bringing your swag bag back is part of your grade. So I have to have the swag bag back next week, not after school ends. So what I'm going to ask is that you bring it back either that Tuesday of next week, right after Memorial Day. You could bring it back Wednesday of that week. Thursday, I do not plan to be at school, so you wouldn't be able to bring it in Thursday. But Friday of that week, I'll be at school. And actually, if you want to come in and glaze or bring in your coil project, if you want me to fire it, you can bring it in, bring that stuff in, or come in and glaze any of those afternoons. And Friday, next Friday, I'll be here the whole day. So if you want to come in the morning, there'll be no students here, but you can still come in and glaze that day. And then the following week, you would be able to come back and pick up your glazed work. So I just wanted to be really clear about that the swag bag needs to come back next week, because that is also worth 50 points. I want all your clay, wet and dry. I want all your tools, your wedging cloth, your slip container, everything brought back to class. So what questions do you have for me about anything? Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.